Day 72 of this adventure that we are on together, this adventure of discovering Jesus, of reading His Word and coming to know and understand His ways. John chapter 4. Yesterday was all about salvation. Today is all about worship. Jesus, He's passing to Jerusalem, and on the way as He's traveling, He's moving through an area called Samaria, and there were Samaritans who stayed there. These Samaritans were considered unclean by the Jews. They were looked down upon. They were not considered worthy of worshiping God. The Samaritans were a type of mixture between Syrians and Israelites, Gentiles and Jews who'd intermarried, and this was just considered completely unacceptable to the pure Jews. And so Jesus moves through this town, this area, small town. He meets a woman there, and then He has a conversation with a woman. So there are just two cultural taboos here that Jesus smashes here. Firstly, He's willing to speak to a Samaritan. A Jew would never speak to a Samaritan, but then He speaks to a woman, and it was improper for a man to dignify a woman with conversation. And this is beautiful conversation that we have read today. In the middle of this conversation, the woman begins to ask, where should we worship? Do we worship where is the right place to worship? Do we worship at the temple? Do we worship at the mount where the Samaritans had built their own temple and they created their own worship of God? And Jesus says, worship is not about where we worship. It is about the how we worship and the who we worship. The state of the heart that we worship from is all important. God is looking for worshipers to worship in spirit and truth. And then He reveals Himself as the I am. He recounts those words that God used when He introduced Himself to Exodus, what we would typically call today Yahweh. He says, I am. And here He reveals Himself in no uncertain terms as the Messiah to this woman. And there's a beautiful story that continues to flow from that. We also see in this chapter, Jesus healing, once again, the son of a Roman official, similar to what we've had in the past with the Roman centurion. This is clearly a different story. But what we have seen here in these last two chapters, Jesus has brought the gospel message to a Jewish Pharisee, a teacher. He has to a Samaritan woman brought the gospel, and He has shared the gospel and allowed a Roman official to partake in the joy of the gospel. The message of the gospel of Jesus is for everyone.